Yeah, I just flew down to Savannah where I interviewed Quando Rondo. And, he was, hooked on drugs for a long time. He's clean now. He's about to get sentenced, for a case. He's been clean for a while. But he said flat out, for young black males, lean is the new crack. It's frowned upon for someone to pull out a crack pipe in front of you and smoke it, right? No one looks up to that. But it's cool to have a double cup of lean.
Right.
But it's heroin.
Right.
Right? It's not cool to pull out a needle and strap your arm up in the studio and start shooting up heroin after laying a verse.
Yeah.
But pouring up, mix it in with some Sprite.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the man.
Yeah.
But it's the same shit. And when he said it's the new crack, I said, you're right. You're right. I hung out with Pimp C a couple weeks before he died off of a lean overdose.
Right.
And yeah, man, it kills a lot of people. It's unbelievably expensive.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. I know people that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars over time on lean.
I think Juelz Santana was hooked on that.
Yeah, I mean, there was a whole tea thing. I asked him about that. He kind of danced around that question. But yeah, man, he definitely was hooked on it, and it's very easy. I was hanging out with Riff Raff one day, and he had some lean. He's like, you want to try it? I'm like, all right, fuck it. I tried some lean. I fell asleep. We just eaten a big meal also. That probably contributed to it. So I've tried lean, but I've never actually gotten high off lean. And, in retrospect, I probably shouldn't even tried it at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Won't touch coke, but we try this lean shit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've taken ecstasy before. I've taken acid before. I've had a span where I was on mushrooms, taking mushrooms every few weeks.
Yeah.
But I'm not really like a drug guy like that outside of weed.
Yeah.
I smoke weed pretty much every day, but the hard drugs, it's just not really me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm lucky. Because, like I said, I've interviewed 5 people that have died off of overdoses. Mm-hmm. So that could have been me, but luckily it wasn't. But it's very easy to just, especially in coke. Like, I have friends that, hey, the first time I tried coke was off a stripper's titties. We're hanging out with a bunch of girls. They're doing coke. They're making it seem that if I do coke with them, I have a chance to sleep with them. So I try some coke. 20 years later, my friend has no teeth.
Fuck.
And he still lives with his mom. Yeah.
That bad it got away from.
This is some real shit.
Wow.
This is some real shit. And this is one of my close friends.
Wow.
I'm not going to say his name, but this is one of my close friends. I mean, not so much anymore.
Yeah.
But, like I said, we met up after years of not seeing each other. We're having lunch, and he takes his teeth out in front of me. That's like, damn. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
That's that prison shit, dude. Everybody in there has dentures.
Really?
Because they're all fucking ex-crackheads, meth heads, Yeah, that's the only place where you're like, oh, wow, crack really does exist still. But in a very niche kind of way. There are old smokers. There's guys that have been smoking since the 80s. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I miss the old days, man. In many ways, when it came to the drug trade, it was a lot simpler times. It was heroin, weed, and coke. That was basically it.
Right.
And it was clean, and it was structured and organized. The prices were not too low. You know what I mean? The hierarchies in the source countries, Colombia, Mexico, controlled everything, and they made sure that the prices didn't bottom out by sending too much product. The world made sense. It doesn't make sense now. It's like everybody can make drugs where they live. And yeah, it's so decentralized that it seems like it's the days of like a kingpin are gone. And the days of doing what I did, just as like me, are pretty much over. So I don't know if people argue that, but if you have to sell all these kind of drugs that kill people and if you're selling lean and I got a box of pills and then I got weed over here and I got sketchy coke over here, I don't want to be involved in that. I want to be a fucking kingpin. I want to be a boss. I want to have this giant wholesale business. And I think that's increasingly hard to do.
Well, listen, the cartels overseas.
Yeah.
And they're still fighting it out.
Yeah.
Doing what they do. Well, Johnny Mitchell, man, appreciate you coming in.
This was fun, Vlad.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I always like to really reach out and embrace the next generation of content creators. You know, like seeing the academics come up. I reached out to him early. Charlemagne. I was the first person to put him on a platform outside of South Carolina.
Yeah.
Adam 22, Sean Cotton from Say Cheese. You know, even Nori, you know, was, you know, he was rocking doing interviews with me, and then he started his own platform. And then, you know, I went and did his platform. Like, you know, that type of thing. I always felt like we all do better by working together, by sharing resources. You know, if there's someone I see on someone's platform that I want, I'll reach out to them. You know, Math Hoffa is another one, you know, where we all help each other. I feel like there's enough space for all of us. There's enough viewers for all of us. Just because someone goes on Vlad TV doesn't mean that they're not going to go on the Connect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In terms of a viewer.
And that's the winner's mentality. See, that's the abundant mindset that you have to have, and that I didn't have back in the day. And it takes a little bit of like growing up and maturing and a little success to realize, oh, that's the way to live.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one more thing that I recently figured out. I was watching the Vince McMahon documentary.
Who?
Vince McMahon.
Oh, okay.
He was the founder of WWE.
Yep.
There's a whole documentary on him on Netflix. And what I learned from watching it was this. You know, a lot of big wrestlers, well, all the major wrestlers went through WWE, right? And along the way, both male and female wrestlers had really bad falling out. You know, would fall out with him, would publicly bash him, would sue him. So, you know, some of the women would sue him for sexual assault and sexual harassment, stuff like that. And the large majority of those people, even after going through the courts and settling with them or whatever else, he would bring them back on to WWE, and the storyline would be their lawsuit.
The greatest promoter ever.
Yo. And he would address and work it into the storyline. Oh, you sued me for sexual harassment, but I'm going to get like, and everyone would get paid, and you know, the business would continue and it would grow. And I was looking at that going like, damn, like, this is something that I haven't been great at. I have a falling out with someone and it's like, fuck you forever.
Right.
But watching this, I'm going like, at the end of the day, it's just business. These aren't, you know, for most people, these aren't my actual friends. We don't really have relationships outside of the business itself. And I actually learned from watching it. I'm like, yo, I'm about to rethink some of my business strategies here.
The whole world's a stage when you're in this space, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody knows that better than, you're right, wrestlers. Because the whole thing is self-promotion. It's all fake, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, and they even pointed out in the documentary, which I'm always thinking about now, because remember, Donald Trump was a repeat guest on WWE, and they really described how Donald Trump is the first, like, pro wrestling president. And the approach that he takes, where he would just say outlandish stuff, true or false.
Yep.
They would catch him in the lie. He would say it's fake news, or he would start pointing out how broke they are.
Right.
And they just go on to the next topic like it never happened. And then he wins.
That's right.
And then now he might win again. You see what I'm saying? Like,
it's wild.
It's wild, man.
But when you talk to him, like, when you catch him in candid moments, he's like, oh yeah, Bill Clinton's a nice guy. Yeah. You know, Kamala's pretty.
Yeah.
Like, the whole, it's just
But it's
marketing.
just a stage. It's just a stage. And, you know, the quicker everyone realizes that and gets out of their feelings and stops being so sensitive, I think everyone will ultimately win.
But Marlon Wayans, we're still not giving you 40 G's, Bubba's. We're still not paying you that. That's ridiculous.
Johnny, man, I appreciate you coming in, man. Wish you all the best. And make sure you check out your YouTube channel, The Connect on YouTube. Right. You know, you're doing your thing on it. Congrats.
Thanks, buddy. I had a great time.
No doubt. Peace.
Peace.